A semi truck at the top of the hill.
That looks like a.
Hey, if you took the S off there,
Yeah, and y'all was just gonna
you
say
could
that.
put a picture of the Enterprise floating over
Right, this is who we are.
like Star Trek.
Where is that? Somebody went with that logo. Where in the world is that?
That's in the Caribbean.
It is the Caribbean?
By the way, you paid another $8 for that photograph, but now we own it.
Wow, that is a nice photo.
So let me take you through, and then you stand up front, and then we're going to do a little test. Okay? There's 3 mats on the floor in the kitchen. They're rubber mats. Okay? What you have to be able to do is to be able to give this presentation, and you can never leave the mat. Not walk off of the spot. Not capitalize on it by creating training and creating systems. And now there's an opportunity in this industry. So what about taking the 90%? I would probably say that for the end, maybe. Well, actually, I have it in 2 places.
We don't want that up front there. Let
Put it at the
and
end.
we're talking about PHP.
What we did is you mentioned it, but you reinforced it on the back side.
Yeah, I think we're lifting the weight off the shoulders up front. Like that.
All right, let me go through the whole thing real quick. I'm just going to flash through.
Letters, make those white instead of black.
Yeah, try that.
Now this is what I wanted to ask you, John. I came up with a thing. I came up with something that you said a good definition right there for what BHP is. Because I said we need to be clear, and we need to have a clear-cut definition of what we do and how we do it.
Okay. We are, first and foremost, and always will be, which is the only thing you can do, a marketing company.
Right. Yeah, that's what we do.
We are a marketing company. Well, if we're going to market, that means that we do not have a stronghold to any one company.
Right.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, can a big company or a little company pull the rug out from underneath your feet on any given month?
Sure.
Okay. Do you want to have your life and your total income for your wife and kids dependent on somebody else's company for you to make your money?
Right.
Do you?
No.
Okay. So if we control the marketing firm, we can add to or take away. Because what if they change the comp plan on you and now all of a sudden you're going, I don't like it, we can do what? Because think about this, once we've created the infrastructure, the procedures, the training methods, which are unique to us, it will not occur overnight, it will take time. When I did previous lifetimes, you think we've done a lot of revisions? This is nothing. I went through probably 40 to 50 revisions of my presentation in the first year alone.
And we'll make revisions at our
And we'll make revisions, because here's where the revisions will come into play. They will come into play when I see him stutter or draw a blank or hesitate. It's because there's a natural break or flow in what's going on up here. There's a disjunction, and you'll see it. We'll know tomorrow night where he will stumble, and that's why we're doing this tomorrow night and next Tuesday. You're going to find very quickly with this presentation, you're going to come up, you're going to come up, and you're going to come up, and you're going to come up and say, what about this? You're going to do it more than all of them. Okay? All I'm going to do is say, yep, I think we know how to do that. Let's incorporate that back in. Here's eventually what's going to happen. I don't want to turn this over to my sister yet because there's too many revisions too quick, and I don't want to utilize too much of her time. But here's what she's going to do. She's going to throw up all over this from a graphic artist point of view and go back and put all the rules in for how a permanent professional display should look. Once we have that, now we can brand it, duplicate it, whatever the case may be. It's part of our package. So when you want to go to San Diego, which you've never been to, you could say, by the way, I'm typing in because I got one person out there. I'm going to call X amount of resumes within a 10-mile radius of there, have them all ready to go. You're going to have to learn how to use VoIP. Everybody, I assume you all use VoIP? Do you know what VoIP is? Voice over Internet. So, for example, we have Vonage here. But, for example, if you go to Best, write this down, you might want to. If you go to Best Buy, and you need to know this as well, If you go to Best Buy, they are the only retailer, and maybe CVS maybe now, they're the only retailer that carries in stock Magic Jack. It's 40 bucks. You pay the $40, that covers your entire long distance for a whole year.
MHAI thing.
You plug it in your computer.
Okay? Don't order it over the internet. Go into Best Buy and buy it. After that, it's how much a year? 20 bucks?
20 bucks, I think.
A year for unlimited long distance. But what you do is you specify on your Magic Jack account, you're allowed to change it once per year or once per quarter. I'm not absolutely sure. But you use a regular telephone that plugs into the little jack, which goes into your USB right here. That's it. Okay? When you do that, you can specify what area code you want. So that if you want to market in Maryland, you're calling from here, all they're going to see on their telephone is their local area code calling in to that area. And you're sitting here calling from Tampa. Right. Okay? So it's cheap. It's not a lot of money. Because when you're talking about a $40 investment for a whole year for unlimited long distance, and you're having to do this, here's the other part that you're going to want. You're going to want to spend 100 bucks, not now, when you start making money. You're going to want to buy a good headset. It will run you about 100 bucks or more for a good headset, because if you're going to dial 200 dials, you're going to get tired of this after a while. This.
Make sure you're burned.
Yeah, it's hot.
You
And
just,
your ear will get hot.
you know, just put on a good headset. So it's about 100 bucks.
With a mouthpiece.
Yep.
Talking about
John Madden.
yeah.
John Madden. Okay.
This is not the color that we're going to have there. Let's call it a little odd combination. Are we changing that gold to something else? Is that what you said?
Yes. I'll show you at the end. We can pick and change whatever. All I did was key in the font. We can change the fonts. They do, if you look, they do have graded shadings on them and everything else. So there's a lot more in those than meets the eye. We can make them 3D look. We can do whatever we want. There's 1,000 fonts in here. All right. So if we do this, what I'm going to do, Mike, is I'm going to start here and I'm going to go through the presentation. I'm just going to click through it real quick. This is your static slide. This is when you will spend your longest time on a slide will be this one up front.
This is the 5-minute slide.
This is your 4 to 5 minute slide. Now, color change signifies immediately, now because you're going to be introing, this is the unique product that we have discovered that, and then all of a sudden there's a big change in color. Okay? I haven't changed anything here. Your dream building.
I sure don't like that crooked picture.
I don't either. I'm not the one who created this slide.
I can fix that if you want.
Fix it.
Yeah, I can.
Well,
I
know how to
can
fix
even
too,
it out.
But here's what we did. If you go into here,
Well, let's go ahead and go through the presentation first. Let's
Can't do that.
see, this is what I did.
Oh. That's what the other one.
Slide.
That's it. That looks square right there. There we go.
No,
No.
it's still perfect.
Download the font on this machine, because if you look at this on my slide, my thing upstairs, it's not the same.
You're missing that font.
I'm missing that font. How do you load a font? Do you have to go back to the
Can you
original
use
software?
that other computer? Why don't you use the other computer? What's the big
Yeah, I don't have to
deal?
rip it all out of there.
I think if you give me 10 minutes.
Because you know what? What you just introduced is doubt.
Right, yeah. So we're part of that 98% right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're part of it. So you still have right.
So you don't want to go
Let's pick on
that.
him.
They talk about this on the training.
Are you willing to bet somebody's life that you're going to make it in this business?
So it's 98% failure. My odds are against me. Is that what you're saying?
But there's doubt in the back of your mind. If you even have it, as much as you've been involved, imagine the person that just walked in the room, is sitting down, is either going to get a
So we stay
snore,
away from that.
is either going to get a snore fest, or they're going to hear something they have not heard.
Right.
Okay? So, in your dialogue, you want, see, I don't want us up front. You know why we don't want us up front? Because we've got great hair. You know what you want? You want the guys that don't have gray hair up front. Because you know who's going to work this the hardest statistically? They are, not us. Now, statistically, we'll have more experience and everything else. You know what I'd rather do?
Be the guy that they come up
In the
with.
back.
You'll bring the quality of people in your guest list.
You want, this is what
You're
you
the
want.
intro boy.
This is what you want up front.
Mr. Josh.
I don't have an ego to want to be up front.
Intro guy.
Been there, done that 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Whatever. But that doesn't mean I can't teach you
Right.
the things that you need to be up there. And then when you make a mistake, I'll say later on, you might want to,
Adjust here.
and you got to have no ego.
Yeah.
You got to have no ego. Because if I'm telling you, it's usually, and I'm going to tell you, my wife, I directed her years and years ago. I directed her years and years ago that if I said something that did not make sense in there, she would immediately afterwards say, don't do this, don't do this. Don't. She didn't even have to be nice about it. I said, okay.
Yep.
I didn't care because they're seeing it from a different perspective than you do here. Okay? So one of the things to practice is don't do this.
Walk in front of the screen.
Because you wonder in your mind too?
But you see,
Plus, you hurt my camera.
but you see what's in, you can't, but I'm saying it's distracting. So that's why, actually, I had this over here. See how easy this slides?
Yep. You got this parameter to move in.
This is too big a parameter. But if I put this right here, and that's why I use the phone ones in there because they don't move around. So you can move a little bit.
You turn to the crowd. I mean, you can do
But
it.
see, you're doing this,
Shadow.
but I'm not moving enough.
A screen should be up high.
This is going to be the screen for tomorrow night.
Okay.
Okay. So it'll be over to the side. The room's wide enough that you'll be able to easily work, just like we had before. Okay. So if you're here and you're engaging and you go, I know right now what you're thinking. You're thinking right now, is this legitimate? Is this something that I can make money? Some of you may say, see how I'm thinking, what I'm doing is I'm internally dialoguing your thoughts out loud. So what are the main points that we want to have? Everybody obviously in this room is here to learn how to make more. See the impact of that statement?
Right, you drag it out.
Then you can duplicate that. How?
It's all in there.
You're like-
Did he do it? Yes. It's another thing. If you're nervous, you have a tendency to talk faster.
Right.
Okay. What I want you to do is when I speak, like the last time I spoke for an AA, there was 350 people in the room. When I come up to a microphone, everybody else does the same old thing. They're doing this, and I'll get up there and go, just like two people would be talking is the way you need to think about it. And picture Lori is sitting right here. Okay? And you guys are at home by yourself. And you're talking about this to just Lori. Watch the impact it'll have. Amazing. Okay? So don't go Lori.
Right.
Okay? But you'll say this. I'm going to look at you, and here's another technique. And you listen up, guys. This is, you got to learn this. This is another technique. This is worth thousands to you over time. Let's say right now you need to pick on 3 or 4 people that you know their first name, and it cannot be anybody in this room. So here's what you have to do. When they come into the room, they're going to have their name tags on them. Okay? What I want you to do when you're introduced up front, and you need to do this too if you're ever back up front, it's an excellent technique. Top speakers in the country do this. So, as I'm talking, I'll go, so everybody in here I know is looking for something to show them how to make more income. Right, Josh? And continue on. What did I just do? I was looking at Josh for just a second, but I continued right on. Pick 3 or 4, their first name only, and work their names into your dialogue.
This is a stranger, not someone you know.
Somebody you do not know. Okay? So, I don't know you from Adam, so your name's Bob. So, Bob, you think this is probably a pretty good idea? See what I just did? And I went on from there. What you're doing is you can't pick them all in the front row. They need to be usually maybe one in the front row and one 2, 3, or 4 rows back.
Over.
And over as you go through it. Work it in. So what you do is if you don't do that, what I'm going to do tomorrow night is I'm going to say you need to work on remembering the 4 names. What makes it easier is they got their name tag on. You can't go too far back because you can't see their name tag. What you're doing is you're stressing the importance of them being in the room. Here's the part you don't know. Bob, who was sitting in the 3rd row, by the way, is going to suck at this. But Bob brought George, who you didn't identify, but because you made him feel important for 1 second, is going to have a much bigger impact on the person sitting next to him. How do you know who brought who? Especially when the groups get bigger.
Right.
See what I'm doing? You want, doesn't it like, if somebody calls your name out in a group, doesn't say you feel?
It's big.
It's special.
Doesn't say you feel? So I go back and I keep saying Josh. Now I can make like humor even if I know Josh. But the idea behind this is to have people you don't know prior to that night. To ignite.
The indication and belief in the room is that you know the person.
You know,
But the person knows you don't know.
Well, that'd be good too. When they're coming in, just make a few introductions through a handshake and say, that's one of the guys I'm gonna pick and that's one of the guys. And
Yeah,
so,
you almost remember.
so that way,
That's what I'm talking
when I say, right, Bob, we met in the hallway, so it's at least it
You know
falls.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, but he's going to do this. He's going to meet 10 or 15 or 20 of them, and he's going to have certain ones that are going to stick in his head.
Right. Just pick out 2 or 3. And
Pick the ones that made an impression on you.
Yeah, you gotta pick the guy in the fancy suit and all this stuff, you know, whatever it
Okay, so
is.
this is the technique. So just remember, it doesn't sound like much right now, but if I kept calling Josh, I keep calling your name out once or twice, and the larger the group is, and I only call your name 1 time, it's all it takes. 1 split second. Okay. So let's go back to BHP. BHP, the function of BHP is to show you, Bob, how to make the income that you really want to make. See how simple that was?
I like that line.
Do you see how simple that was though?
Right.
Very direct. But isn't that what Josh really, or Bob, or whoever, isn't that really what they're here for?
Right.
Okay? So those simple statements, why is not really relevant as to how. If the why wasn't there, you ready for this? They wouldn't be in this room. Yeah. You realize that?
And
If
one
you
of
didn't
the-
have a why, why would you come?
One of the industry standards is you have to have a why statement. It's like in their Bible.
Okay.
And that's where it's like, I never really got into that because I feel if you need to tell me why I need to make a good living, then I'm further away from, you know.
Well, wait a
this than I
minute.
thought.
Your why you have to keep in. And you know what your why is? Your why is the desire of why you're doing this. And that's why we have the slides up there of the family, the house.
Just
That
the
is the
why.
why. So the why is in there, but it's only a piece of the puzzle. The how is nothing more than your last portion of your slides for your comp plan, your training. That's the how. Okay? You didn't know.